Clara Silva had always been a woman driven by empathy, a quality shaped by her challenging upbringing in a poor neighborhood. Growing up, she often witnessed her family struggle to make ends meet, which instilled in her a deep understanding of the value of kindness. Now, as the manager of a renowned restaurant in the heart of the city, Clara dedicated herself to creating an atmosphere where every guest felt welcomed and appreciated. It was a busy Friday evening when Clara noticed a new member of her team, Lisa, looking concerned. As Clara completed her final checks before closing time, Lisa approached her, glancing nervously at the front entrance. "Clara, there's an elderly man sitting outside. I think he needs help," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Curious, Clara walked toward the entrance, where the dim streetlights illuminated the figure of an older man. He sat hunched over, dressed in slightly tattered clothing, and appeared disoriented. His eyes darted around, and he seemed to struggle with his thoughts. Clara's heart tightened at the sight. She could see the weariness etched on his face, a reflection of a life filled with hardship. "Excuse me, sir," Clara called gently, stepping outside. The man looked up, startled. "Are you all right? Can I help you with anything?" With a shaky voice, the man replied, "I just wanted a meal, but I don't have any money." Clara could see the shame in his eyes, a sentiment she was all too familiar with. Without a moment's hesitation, she felt compelled to assist him. "Please wait here," Clara said, her mind racing as she recalled a food truck that often parked nearby, serving warm, delicious meals late into the night. She quickly returned to the restaurant and explained the situation to her team. "I'll be right back. I'm going to buy him something to eat." As she rushed to the food truck, Clara felt a mixture of urgency and hope. This act of kindness, however small, felt crucial in that moment. Upon arriving, she ordered a hearty burger and fries, envisioning the man's face lighting up with gratitude. Returning to the entrance, Clara approached the man, who was now sitting with his head down, lost in thought. "Here you go, sir," she said, placing the steaming tray in front of him. His eyes widened in surprise as he looked up at her. "You really don't have to." But Clara interrupted. "I insist. We all need a helping hand sometimes." As he took the tray, tears welled up in his eyes, and Clara felt a warm glow in her heart. She knew this was the right thing to do, not just for him but for herself as well. After ensuring he had everything he needed, Clara headed back inside, feeling fulfilled. Little did she know, this act of compassion would set off a chain of events that would change her life forever. As the last few customers exited the restaurant, she locked the doors, unaware that the night held unforeseen challenges and opportunities. Clara couldn't shake the feeling that her kindness had made a real difference, but she was about to discover just how profound an impact it would have on her future. The following morning, Clara woke up feeling a sense of purpose. The memory of the elderly man's grateful expression lingered in her mind as she prepared for another day at the restaurant. She couldn't shake the feeling that her simple act of kindness had been more than just a momentary gesture. It had a deeper significance that resonated within her. As she arrived at the restaurant, the familiar sense of coffee and fresh pastries enveloped her. The team was already bustling about, setting up for the day ahead. Clara greeted everyone with a smile, her heart lighter than it had been in weeks. "Good morning, team. Let's make today a great one," she encouraged, her enthusiasm infectious. Midway through the breakfast rush, Clara was in the kitchen, ensuring everything was running smoothly. She paused for a moment to chat with Lisa, the young employee who had first pointed out the elderly man. "How are you feeling today, Lisa?" Clara asked, noticing the girl's nervous demeanor. "I'm doing okay, just a bit anxious about the weekend crowd," Lisa replied, wringing her hands. Clara smiled warmly. "Remember, we're all in this together. If you need help, don't hesitate to ask. We've got each other's backs." Clara's encouragement seemed to lift Lisa's spirits, and Clara felt proud of her role as a mentor. Just as things began to settle, the restaurant manager, Mark, walked in. Clara had always felt a bit of tension between them. Mark was older and often skeptical of her ideas. Today, however, He seemed distracted. "Clara, can we talk for a minute?" he said, his tone serious. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Clara responded, curiosity piqued. They stepped into the back office, where Mark closed the door behind them. "I've been thinking about what happened yesterday with that old man," he started, a hint of irritation in his voice. "You know we can't have employees giving away food like that. It sets a bad precedent." Clara felt her heart sink. But he needed help, Mark. "I couldn't just let him go hungry," she defended, remembering the gratitude in the man's eyes. "I understand your intentions," Mark replied, "but we have rules for a reason. The financials are tight as it is. We can't afford to be generous in a way that jeopardizes the business." His words felt like a slap in the face, dampening Clara's earlier optimism. After the conversation, Clara returned to the dining area, her mind racing. Was her act of kindness truly wrong? She pondered the challenges the restaurant faced and how compassion seemed to be at odds with business decisions. Just then, she noticed a familiar face through the window, the elderly man she had helped yesterday. Surprised, Clara rushed outside, her heart racing. "Sir, it's great to see you again," she exclaimed, catching her breath. The man looked a bit more vibrant today, his eyes sparkling with appreciation. "Thank you for yesterday. It meant the world to me," he said, his voice steady. "I wanted to repay your kindness. Can I take you to lunch sometime?" Clara laughed softly. "You don't have to do that. Just knowing you're okay is enough for me." But he insisted. "No, please. Let me show you my gratitude. You helped me when I was at my lowest. It's only right I treat you in return." As Clara agreed to meet him for lunch, she felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this encounter was the universe's way of affirming her belief in kindness. Little did she know that this connection would lead her down a path she never anticipated, intertwining their fates in ways she couldn't yet imagine. As the day progressed, Clara's heart was lifted, not only by the kindness she had extended, but also by the possibility of new beginnings that awaited her. The day continued at the restaurant, and Clara felt a renewed sense of energy after her interaction with the elderly man, whose name she learned was Roberto. She eagerly awaited their lunch meeting, hopeful that it would be an opportunity not only to connect, but also to learn more about him. As the lunch rush began, the restaurant filled with customers, and Clara's focus shifted back to managing her team. However, amid the hustle and bustle, Clara noticed Mark hovering by the office door, looking more troubled than usual. She approached him, ready to lend an ear. "Is everything all right?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "Not really," Mark replied, rubbing the back of his neck. "I just got off the phone with the owners. They're tightening the budget even further, and things are looking grim. We might have to make some cuts soon." Clara's stomach twisted at the thought. They were already operating with minimal staff, and she had fought hard to create a supportive environment. Cuts? But we're doing everything we can to improve customer satisfaction. "We can't afford to lose anyone right now," she argued, her mind racing. Mark sighed heavily. "I know, but the financials don't lie. The owners are looking at every expense, and they're not pleased with the profit margins. I just wanted to give you a heads up." The weight of Mark's words hung over Clara like a dark cloud. She felt a pang of panic as she considered the implications for her team and the hard work they had all put in. Taking a deep breath, she reminded herself that she needed to stay positive. "We'll figure it out, Mark. We always do," she said, trying to project confidence. As the lunch service continued, Clara's mind was preoccupied with the potential layoffs. She had always believed that kindness and empathy should guide their actions, but the harsh reality of business weighed heavily on her. Just as she was lost in thought, a wave of customers flooded in, and she quickly shifted her focus back to the present. After the rush died down, Clara checked her watch, realizing it was almost time for her lunch meeting with Roberto. She stepped outside, her heart racing with anticipation. As she approached the agreed-upon spot, she spotted Roberto sitting on a bench, his face illuminated by the warm sunlight. "Hi, Roberto," she called, smiling as she took a seat beside him. "It's great to see you again. Thank you for coming, Clara. I've been looking forward to this, he said, his eyes twinkling with appreciation. They chatted about their lives, and Clara found herself captivated by Roberto's stories of his journey in the restaurant industry, filled with valuable lessons and insights. As they exchanged experiences, Clara felt a connection growing between them, transcending their initial encounter. Roberto shared his philosophy on customer service and the importance of treating everyone with dignity, resonating deeply with Clara's own beliefs. She began to relax, forgetting the worries of the restaurant for a moment. Suddenly, Clara's phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her back to reality. It was a message from Mark, urging her to return to the restaurant immediately. "I'm sorry, I have to go," she said, her heart sinking at the thought of leaving this meaningful conversation behind. "No problem, Clara. I understand," Roberto replied with a knowing smile. "Just remember, the little things you do for people can make a big difference." As she hurried back to the restaurant, Clara's mind was racing, not just with the concerns of her job, but also with the inspiration she had drawn from her conversation with Roberto. She knew that she needed to channel that energy into finding a solution for her team and herself. Little did she know that the connection she was forming with Roberto would soon become a pivotal part of her journey, leading her to a decision that would change everything. As Clara hurried back to the restaurant, her mind was filled with the vibrant stories Roberto had shared and the unexpected bond they were beginning to form. However, as she stepped through the door, the atmosphere shifted. There was a heaviness in the air, and her instincts kicked in. Something was off. Mark was waiting for her, his expression grave. "Clara, we need to talk. Now." His tone was serious, sending a shiver down her spine. Clara's heart raced as she followed him into the office, where the weight of uncertainty loomed. "What's going on?" Clara asked, her voice steady, though anxiety bubbled beneath the surface. "The owners just had a meeting," Mark began, his hands gripping the edge of the desk. "They've decided to shut down the restaurant. We're all being laid off effective immediately." The words hit Clara like a ton of bricks. She felt the world spin around her, disbelief settling in. "What? No! That can't be right. We've been working so hard to improve things." "There must be another option," she stammered, trying to process the shocking news. Mark shook his head, a look of regret in his eyes. "I wish there was, Clara. They said the financial situation is dire. The sons of the founder are not managing the business well, and they don't want to invest any more money. They're closing this location for good." Clara's mind raced with thoughts of her team, Lisa, who had just begun to find her footing, and others who depended on this job. How could they do this to so many people? She felt her heart heavy with despair. "But what about us? We didn't even get a chance to fight for it," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with emotion. "I know," Mark replied, visibly upset. "But they've made up their minds. We're supposed to clear out by the end of the day." Clara felt tears stinging her eyes. It wasn't just about the job. It was about the community they had built together, the friendships formed, and the impact they had on each other's lives. "This isn't fair," she insisted, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, Clara," Mark said softly, his expression softening. "I didn't want it to end like this either." After their conversation, Clara stepped back into the dining area, where the atmosphere had shifted dramatically. The sounds of laughter and clinking dishes were replaced by somber expressions and hushed voices. It felt as though a cloud had settled over the restaurant, suffocating the joy that once filled it. Clara gathered her team together for a meeting, her heart heavy with the news she had to deliver. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" she called out, her voice trembling slightly. "I have some difficult news to share." As she explained the situation, the room fell silent. Shock and disbelief rippled through her team, with murmurs of disbelief echoing off the walls. "I know this is hard to hear," Clara continued, her voice steadying. "But I want you to know that you've all been an incredible team. I am so proud of everything we've accomplished together." Lisa's eyes filled with tears, and Clara felt a wave of emotion wash over her. "What are we going to do now?" Lisa whispered, her voice breaking. I don't know yet, but we will figure this out together, Clara assured her, feeling a surge of determination. We deserve better than this, and I promise to support you however I can. After the meeting, Clara stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, needing a moment to collect her thoughts. The weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her shoulders, and the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the city. It was a beautiful evening, but Clara felt anything but uplifted. Suddenly, she remembered Roberto's words about kindness and how the little things could make a big difference. She decided that even in the face of adversity, she would continue to embody the values she believed in. With newfound resolve, Clara picked up her phone and sent a quick message to Roberto, explaining what had happened. I appreciate our conversation today. I could really use your guidance right now, she typed, hoping he would respond. As she watched the sunset, Clara realized that the end of this chapter was merely a new beginning waiting to unfold. She had faced hardships before, and now she would fight for herself and her team, refusing to let their hard work go unnoticed. Little did she know, this determination would soon lead her down a path she had never imagined. A few days later, Clara found herself wandering through the city, her mind still grappling with the abrupt closure of the restaurant. The bustling streets seemed indifferent to her turmoil, filled with people going about their daily lives. As she walked, the memory of Roberto's encouraging words echoed in her mind. Every ending is just a new beginning. She had decided to take them to heart. While exploring a quaint little park, Clara's phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Roberto, asking if they could meet again. Feeling a surge of excitement, she quickly replied, suggesting they meet at a nearby cafe. She was eager to continue their conversation and perhaps gain more insight into the next steps she could take. Arriving at the cafe, Clara noticed Roberto seated at a corner table. His demeanor relaxed as he sipped a cup of coffee. Clara, it's good to see you again, he greeted her warmly as she approached. Clara returned the smile, feeling a sense of comfort in his presence. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it, Clara said, settling into her seat. I've been trying to wrap my head around everything that's happened. Roberto nodded, his expression sympathetic. I can only imagine. Losing a job can feel like losing a part of yourself, especially when you've invested so much into it. Clara sighed, her heart heavy. I just keep thinking about my team. They relied on me to lead them, and now I feel like I've let them down. Sometimes, leadership means making tough decisions for the greater good, he reminded her. What's important now is how you respond to the situation. You have the potential to create something new and meaningful. Clara leaned in, curiosity piqued. What do you mean? I run several successful restaurants, and I'm always on the lookout for passionate individuals to collaborate with, Roberto explained, his eyes lighting up with excitement. I believe in giving people a chance to shine. With your experience and empathy, you would be a fantastic partner in a new venture I'm considering. Clara's heart raced at the possibility. Are you serious? What kind of venture? I want to open a community-focused restaurant that emphasizes sustainability and inclusivity, a place where everyone feels welcome and the food reflects our commitment to quality and kindness, he said passionately. I could use someone like you to help bring this vision to life. Clara felt a rush of emotions, excitement, hope, and a twinge of disbelief. This sounds incredible, but I don't know if I'm ready to jump into something so big right now. Clara, this is your chance to turn the page. You've already shown that you can make a difference in people's lives. Why not expand that impact? Roberto encouraged, leaning forward earnestly. You have the opportunity to create something meaningful that embodies everything you believe in. As they spoke, Clara felt a spark of inspiration igniting within her. She thought about her experiences, her team, and her desire to create a positive impact in the community. You're right, she said, determination settling in her voice. I can't let fear hold me back. I want to make a difference. Then let's explore this together, Roberto said, a broad smile breaking across his face. We can meet regularly to discuss ideas and develop a plan. Together, We can create something truly special. Clara left the cafe feeling invigorated and hopeful. The road ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to embrace the challenges that lay before her. With a newfound sense of purpose, Clara was determined to make Roberto's vision a reality, starting a journey that would not only change her life but also touch the lives of many in the community. Clara awoke the next morning, a mixture of excitement and apprehension swirling within her. The conversation with Roberto had ignited a fire in her, pushing her to reconsider her path. She spent the night drafting ideas for the community-focused restaurant they had discussed, envisioning a place filled with warmth, laughter, and delicious food. The thought of creating something meaningful excited her, but it also filled her with uncertainty. After dropping off her daughter, Emma, at school, Clara made her way to a local community center. Roberto had suggested they meet there to discuss the details of their potential venture. As she entered the bustling building, Clara felt a blend of nervousness and anticipation. This was a significant step, one that could change her life. Roberto was already waiting for her, his expression bright and welcoming. "Clara, I'm glad you could make it," he said, standing up to greet her. "I've been thinking a lot about our conversation, and I'm eager to hear your ideas." "Thank you for the opportunity," Clara replied, her confidence building. "I've jotted down some concepts that I believe could resonate with the community." They found a quiet corner where Clara began to outline her vision for the restaurant. "I think we should focus on using local ingredients and involving the community in the menu. Maybe we could even have a community dish that changes based on seasonal produce," she suggested, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "That's a fantastic idea. It connects people to their food and fosters a sense of belonging," Roberto said, nodding appreciatively. "We could also host cooking classes and community events, making it a hub for learning and connection." As they brainstormed, Clara felt the weight of her past experiences transform into motivation. She envisioned the restaurant not just as a place to eat, but as a community center where people could gather, learn, and share. "What if we also create a program to help those in need? We could offer meals at reduced prices or have a pay-what-you-can day," she proposed, her heart racing at the thought. Roberto's eyes lit up. "I love that. It aligns perfectly with the mission of creating a supportive environment. We can make a real difference in people's lives." As they delved deeper into their plans, Clara's excitement grew. They discussed everything from the restaurant's layout to potential partnerships with local farmers and artisans. With each idea exchange, Clara felt more confident about her role in this venture. She was no longer just a manager of a restaurant. She was a co-creator of something that could inspire others. However, as the conversation continued, Clara couldn't shake the lingering doubts in the back of her mind. "What if we fail? What if we can't make this work?" she voiced, her brow furrowing with worry. Roberto leaned forward, his expression serious yet reassuring. "Every business has its risks, Clara, but with your passion and my experience, we can navigate those challenges together. Remember, failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone toward growth. We'll learn as we go." Feeling bolstered by his words, Clara took a deep breath, her resolve strengthening. She realized that this was more than just a job. It was an opportunity to impact lives and rebuild her own. As they wrapped up their meeting, Clara left the community center with a renewed sense of purpose. She felt the thrill of possibility coursing through her veins. This was just the beginning of a journey filled with challenges and triumphs, and she was ready to embrace it all. As the days turned into weeks, Clara found herself immersed in the whirlwind of preparations for the new restaurant. With Roberto by her side, she tackled every detail with enthusiasm, from menu planning to sourcing ingredients. The vision they had crafted together was slowly taking shape, and Clara could feel the excitement building in the community. One sunny afternoon, Clara stood in the empty space that would soon become their restaurant. It was a modest location, but she could already picture the vibrant colors, the aroma of freshly cooked meals, and the sound of laughter filling the air. With her heart racing, she envisioned the life they would breathe into this space. But as they delved deeper into the planning, Clara realized the challenges ahead were more significant than she had anticipated. "Roberto, we need to finalize the budget," she said, pulling out a spreadsheet filled with numbers. "I'm worried we might be stretching ourselves too thin." Roberto studied the document carefully. "You're right. We have to be mindful of our expenses. Let's look at our priorities. What can we adjust without compromising our vision?" Clara appreciated Roberto's level-headedness. They worked together, brainstorming ways to cut costs while still maintaining quality. She suggested sourcing ingredients directly from local farmers, cutting out the middleman. "It could also strengthen our community ties," she pointed out. "Exactly, and we can highlight those partnerships in our marketing," Roberto added, feeling a surge of optimism. "Let's make our story a part of our brand." However, as Clara began to finalize the plans, she couldn't ignore the nagging anxiety that crept in every time she thought about opening day. What if the community didn't embrace their new venture? What if they failed? Her mind raced with possibilities, but she reminded herself of Roberto's words. Failure was a stepping stone, not the end. To bolster her confidence, Clara decided to reach out to her former team from the restaurant. "I want to invite everyone to a preview night," she proposed to Roberto. "It'll be a soft opening for our friends and family before we officially launch." "That's a brilliant idea. It gives us a chance to gather feedback and make any necessary adjustments," Roberto replied, enthusiasm returning to his voice. With a renewed sense of purpose, Clara reached out to her former colleagues, sharing her excitement about the new venture and inviting them to the preview night. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and her heart swelled with gratitude. It felt good to reconnect with those she had worked alongside. As the date for the preview night approached, Clara found herself juggling last-minute details, such as decor and staff training. She wanted everything to be perfect, not only for her but for her team and the community that had supported her. She organized training sessions for the new hires, focusing on the core values they had established: kindness, quality, and community. On the night of the preview, Clara stood nervously at the entrance, watching as friends, former colleagues, and community members arrived. The restaurant buzzed with energy, and Clara felt a sense of pride as she greeted each guest. She was no longer just a manager. She was the heart of this new venture. As the evening unfolded, Clara watched the reactions of her guests as they sampled the food and shared laughter. It was everything she had hoped for, a place where people came together, enjoyed great food, and felt a sense of belonging. Clara's heart swelled with joy, reminding her of why she had embarked on this journey in the first place. Just as she began to relax, Clara noticed Mark entering the restaurant. He had been a constant source of tension in her previous workplace, but tonight, she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this new beginning could mend old wounds. "Hey, Clara, this place looks amazing," he said, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "I'm really impressed with what you've done." "Thank you, Mark. It means a lot to see you here," Clara replied, feeling a warmth in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, they could find common ground after all. As the night continued, Clara's worries faded, replaced by a sense of fulfillment. She had taken a leap of faith, and it was beginning to pay off in ways she hadn't anticipated. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, she felt hopeful about what was to come. The success of the preview night reverberated throughout the community, sparking excitement and anticipation for the grand opening of Clara's restaurant. As word spread, people were eager to experience the warm atmosphere and delicious food that had been the talk of the town. Clara felt a wave of gratitude wash over her as she prepared for this new chapter, knowing that her vision was finally becoming a reality. In the days leading up to the grand opening, Clara and Roberto worked tirelessly to refine the menu and finalize the decor. They focused on creating a welcoming ambience that reflected their values of community and kindness. Clara envisioned a space adorned with local artwork, cozy seating, and a small bookshelf filled with community-driven literature. It would be more than just a restaurant. It would be a gathering place for everyone. "We should invite local artists to showcase their work here," Clara suggested during one of their planning meetings. "It could help promote their talent, while also giving our restaurant a unique touch." Roberto nodded enthusiastically. That's a fantastic idea. It aligns perfectly with our mission. Plus, it builds a connection with the community. Clara felt a surge of energy as they fleshed out ideas, each decision bringing her closer to realizing her dream. On the day of the grand opening, Clara woke up with a mix of excitement and nerves. She arrived at the restaurant early, ready to make final adjustments. As she stepped inside, the sun filtered through the windows, casting a warm glow over the space. Clara took a moment to soak it all in, envisioning the laughter and conversations that would soon fill the air. As the clock ticked closer to opening time, Clara's team arrived, buzzing with energy. She gathered everyone for a pep talk, her heart swelling with pride at the sight of familiar faces. "Today is the day we show the community what we built together," she said, her voice steady and confident. "Let's make sure everyone feels welcomed and valued, just as we envisioned." With a shared sense of purpose, the team moved into action. They set up tables, arranged decorations, and prepared for the influx of customers. Clara felt a sense of unity among her team, the camaraderie that had been lost in her previous job, now thriving in this new venture. As the doors swung open, guests began to trickle in, and Clara greeted each one with a genuine smile. The restaurant quickly filled with laughter, chatter, and the tantalizing aroma of fresh food. Clara watched as families and friends enjoyed their meals, the atmosphere alive with connection. Throughout the evening, Clara made it a point to engage with her customers, asking for feedback and sharing her vision for the restaurant. "We want to create a space where you feel at home," she told one table, her heart brimming with joy as they praised the food and ambience. However, as the night progressed, Clara noticed a couple of unfamiliar faces lingering near the entrance. They seemed out of place, their expressions serious as they scanned the restaurant. Clara's stomach twisted with unease. Were they here to critique or cause trouble? Determined not to let her anxiety affect her, Clara approached them with her trademark warmth. "Hello, welcome to our restaurant. How are you enjoying the evening?" she asked, her smile unwavering. One of the men stepped forward, introducing himself. "I'm Mark from the local restaurant association. We've heard a lot about your opening and wanted to check it out." Clara's heart raced. Would they provide valuable insights, or were they here to criticize her efforts? As they spoke, Clara quickly learned that they were genuinely impressed with what she had created. "We appreciate your commitment to the community," Mark said. "It's refreshing to see a restaurant that prioritizes connection and inclusivity. We'd love to feature your story in our next newsletter." Relief washed over Clara as she realized they were allies, not adversaries. Their endorsement would be invaluable in building her reputation in the community. "Thank you so much. That would mean a lot to us," she replied, her enthusiasm bubbling over. As the night came to a close, Clara felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had successfully launched their vision into the world, and the restaurant was thriving. The transformation from a mere idea to a bustling hub of activity was nothing short of magical. Clara knew that challenges would still arise, but for now, she was ready to embrace the journey ahead. With her team by her side and the community rallying behind them, Clara felt more empowered than ever. This was just the beginning, and she was eager to see where this adventure would take her. In the weeks following the grand opening, Clara's restaurant quickly became a beloved fixture in the community. The combination of delicious food, a welcoming atmosphere, and a commitment to inclusivity resonated with patrons. Each day brought new faces, and Clara thrived on the energy that filled the dining room. It felt as if the vision she had nurtured was finally coming to life. Clara and her team continued to engage with their customers, encouraging feedback and adapting the menu based on their suggestions. This collaboration fostered a strong sense of community, and Clara relished every moment of it. She often found herself chatting with regulars, learning their stories, and creating connections that went beyond the dining experience. One evening, as the restaurant buzzed with activity, Clara noticed a familiar figure walking in, Roberto. He had been busy with his own projects, and she hadn't seen him in a while. Clara felt a surge of joy as she made her way to greet him. "Roberto, "I'm so glad you're here," she exclaimed. "Clara, the place looks fantastic," he replied, scanning the bustling restaurant with admiration. "I've heard nothing but great things about your food and atmosphere." As they chatted, Clara felt a sense of pride swell within her. She shared the latest developments, including their community events and collaborations with local artists. "We're hosting a community night next week where everyone can come together, enjoy good food, and celebrate local talent," she explained. "That's incredible, Clara. You've really turned this place into a hub for connection," Roberto praised. "I knew you had it in you." Just then, the door swung open and in walked Mark, the man from the restaurant association who had visited on opening night. Clara's heart raced with curiosity. She hadn't seen him since that initial encounter, and she wondered what brought him back. "Clara, great to see you again," Mark called out, his expression bright. "I wanted to share some exciting news." "Of course. What's going on?" Clara asked, eager to hear more. "We've been so impressed with how your restaurant has embraced the community that we want to feature you in our upcoming awards ceremony for local businesses," Mark announced, his enthusiasm contagious. "You've made a significant impact in a short time, and we believe you deserve recognition for your hard work and dedication." Stunned, Clara felt her heart leap with joy. "Really? That's incredible. Thank you so much," she exclaimed, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without my amazing team and the support of our community." Mark nodded. "Absolutely. We want to celebrate not just your success, but also the values you've instilled in this restaurant. It's a testament to the power of community and kindness." As the evening progressed, Clara's thoughts danced between excitement and disbelief. The recognition felt like a validation of her efforts and the values she held dear. She shared the news with her team, who erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by the prospect of being acknowledged for their hard work. That night, Clara couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. From the uncertainty of losing her job to the joy of creating a restaurant that thrived on connection, it was a journey filled with challenges, but also immense rewards. However, amidst the celebration, Clara felt a sense of responsibility. The recognition was not just a personal achievement. It represented the collective effort of her team and the community. She wanted to ensure that their story continued to inspire others. As the award ceremony approached, Clara began to plan her speech. She envisioned standing on stage, sharing her journey and highlighting the importance of community support. "We're not just a restaurant. We're a family," she would say, emphasizing the values that had guided her. With renewed determination, Clara set her sights on the future, knowing that this recognition was just a stepping stone. She wanted to continue building something meaningful, not only for herself but for everyone who walked through her restaurant's doors. Little did Clara know that this moment of recognition would propel her into new opportunities and challenges that would test her resolve in ways she had yet to imagine. The night of the award ceremony arrived, and Clara felt a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. As she prepared, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. From her struggles as a manager to her triumphs in creating a community-focused restaurant, the venue was elegant, filled with local business owners and community leaders, all gathered to celebrate the contributions of the city's entrepreneurs. Clara arrived with her team, their excitement palpable as they mingled with familiar faces. Roberto stood by her side, his presence a reassuring reminder of the support that had helped her get this far. "Just be yourself up there, Clara," he encouraged as they found their seats. "Your story is powerful and people want to hear it." As the ceremony commenced, Clara listened intently as various award recipients shared their journeys. Each story resonated with her, reminding her of the importance of perseverance and community spirit. When her category was announced, Clara's heart raced. "And the award for community impact goes to Clara Silva," the host proclaimed, and the audience erupted into applause. Clara stood up, her legs feeling unsteady as she made her way to the stage. She took a deep breath, allowing the warmth of the applause to wash over her. As she reached the podium, she glanced out at the crowd, spotting familiar faces filled with encouragement and pride. "Thank you so much for this honor," Clara began, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her. "When I opened this restaurant, I wanted to create more than just a place to eat. I wanted to build a community where everyone feels welcome and valued." Clara shared her story, the challenges she faced, the support of her team, and the powerful connection she had made with her customers. "I believe that kindness and empathy can change lives, and I've seen that firsthand in our restaurant," she continued. "Together, we've created a space where food brings people together and where everyone can find a place to belong." As Clara spoke, she could feel the energy in the room shift. People leaned in, captivated by her passion and authenticity. She finished her speech by thanking her team and the community for their unwavering support. "This award is not just mine. It belongs to everyone who has been part of this journey. Thank you for believing in us and for allowing us to be a part of your lives." As Clara stepped down from the stage, the applause thundered in her ears, and she felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Roberto met her with a beaming smile, pride evident in his eyes. "You were amazing, Clara. You captured the heart of what this restaurant represents," he said, enveloping her in a warm embrace. The rest of the evening was a blur of laughter, congratulations, and new connections. Clara mingled with fellow award recipients, exchanging ideas and stories of perseverance. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, realizing that this recognition was just the beginning of a new journey. Later that night, as Clara returned home, she found Emma waiting for her, eyes wide with excitement. "Mom, you were incredible. I'm so proud of you," Emma exclaimed, throwing her arms around Clara. "I couldn't have done it without you, sweetie," Clara replied, her heart swelling with love. "This is just the start of something amazing. We have so much more to achieve together." With a newfound sense of determination, Clara lay in bed that night, reflecting on her journey. She knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but she was ready to embrace them with open arms. Her vision for the restaurant had blossomed into something beautiful, and she felt a deep commitment to continue building a space that fostered connection, kindness, and community. Clara drifted off to sleep, her heart filled with hope for the future. This was her new beginning, and she was excited to see where this journey would lead. Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Share your thoughts in the comments and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next thrilling episode. See you in our next video. Take care